Give me a loading. Give me a loading. Reload it in. All right, reloaded it. Welcome back to the Gauntlet. Here we got another banger episode. It's your intern Tariq Richardson, and here we got my man's James Tatum. We got my guy Denzel Snipes with the Houston, Texas jersey. Shout out H-Town, by the way, even though from Jersey. And then we got Power Outage as well. My man's with the fitted on. Again, I'm saying we got the good one today. We got ourselves an absolute banger. Here we will bring on my guy Denzel Snipes. Started off for the most part.
But first, and whoa, who is that familiar face on the upper right hand? See, when he left, he didn't have all this, okay? But now he's got all that. It's almost like a transformation.
He clearly has
type
not shaved since then.
Now,
No, I
It's like almost a
haven't.
legit
I definitely haven't.
facial hair structure.
I got all this shit on my neck too. So what's up, guys?
Yo, it is the Gauntlet, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's another Friday night. It's your boy Denzel, the Sniper, the returning James Tatum, and Mr. Power Outages champion himself, Dom DeRubeis. Shout out JJ Jenkins. Have a good time trying to act a fool, and I hope your socks matching your shoes and all that. But listen, we got a great show for everybody as usual. There's some happenings around the NFL. Shout out to Big Tariq, that boy Tariq behind the boards. He is our intern and producer. He's been doing a hell of a job with Sideline Sports, so shout out to him.
Yes,
So, I mean, nice little breakaway, James. How you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I moved to my new apartment, so I've been a busy man this summer for sure. But I'm glad to be back on the show. Just finished up LinkedIn. Shout out to Lindy. We had a good episode talking about the Eagles, and you know what? I'm ready to be back here doing this thing. Gonna go on vacation next month. Going to LA. Gonna have fun with that. But you know what? I'm ready to talk about some stuff because we got to talk about the NFL season. We got the NFL season coming up next, or like 2 or 3 weeks from now, week 1, baby. So preseason, all that stuff out the way, man. But I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. The last of the preseason games going on this weekend, and it actually will be
Breaking
next
news.
weekend. Will be what's going on?
I'm sure you heard. Oh, I mean, breaking like what, an hour or two ago? Trey Lance to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. We added that.
absolutely.
We added that to the show. Why not? Yeah.
Yep.
Good work.
And we will get to that in due time. But first, of course, our favorite and mainstay. By the way, before we get started, please tune in, or not tune in, please subscribe to the Sideline Sports on YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We also are showing our episodes on DBTV as well as Stream TV. Lots of great material. So before we get it started, let's go on with our mainstay, the sports moron of the week. Listen.
Hey, before anybody, hold up. Before anybody say anything, man, I don't know why Grizz is over here. He firing bombs on the comment section talking about Kirk got benched for Tariq. Like, I mean,
Wow.
low key, we haven't, like, Kirk did some episodes with us where he was actually on the show, but low key, he hasn't been here since. He hasn't been here since then. Like, I know he got other stuff going on.
I think he got DFA'd.
Yeah,
I think he just knew he could never come back from that.
And you know what? The video that just got ran, and shout out to John Shearer for looking like he was going to jump through the camera when
John was
Kirk
disgusting
using
too.
those.
I wasn't alone. John
No,
was disgusting.
not at all. And y'all keep in mind, our guy John Shearer, he's the king of like hot takes on
Saying
Sideline
crazy
Sports
stuff.
Network. But if you make him make faces, you know you're doing something. And that was like Kirk's second day on the job. That's what's so funny. Anyhow, Sports Moron of the Week. JT, what you got, man?
Mine is James Jones. James Jones, former receiver of the Green Bay Packers. He's been an NFL analyst for the last few years since he retired from the NFL. By the way, before I get into it though, like I actually think James Jones, like he does a great job as an analyst. So I think he's great at the TV stuff, but he had the most terrible take about Jalen Hurts. He said that nobody should try to compare Jalen Hurts to Justin Fields because it's disrespectful because Justin Fields is so much more talented than Jalen Hurts. Let me tell you guys something. I'm not trying to hate on Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields he's all right. He's been in a crap situation. But let's not do this. Compare every quarterback that ends up taking like a big step like with Jalen Hurts. They do it with every random young quarterback that they want to do. They want to say, oh, well, Jalen Hurts had like this great season, so that means so-and-so going to do what Jalen Hurts did. First of all, you have to be realistic about this situation. Justin Fields has a lot more flaws of his game than what Jalen Hurts had coming into last year. We know the issues that Jalen Hurts had to fix, and he fixed them because nobody works harder than this guy. But Justin Fields has literally so many fundamentally bad problems with his
He has
passing
more
game.
minuses than pluses.
He has way more red flags than Jalen had.
He's a poor man's Lamar Jackson. And honestly, that's an insult to Lamar Jackson.
This guy was 27th. He missed a couple games due to injury, but 27th in the league last year with like 2,200 yards passing. But you're going to say Jalen Hurts, that was second in MVP voting, led the team to the Super Bowl, had a great season. Oh, it's disrespectful to compare. I just think that's a terrible take, and I don't think James Jones even knows what he said.
You know what's funny about that? Speaking of MVP, there's a lot of Bears fans, just whatever analogy you want to use, flushing their money down the toilet, setting it on fire. You know who has the most bets logged in Vegas for MVP?
Ain't no way.
It's Justin Fields.
Don't say Field. Man.
Shout out to you Bears fans.
Oh, there goes that money.
Give away money.
You know what?
Give it away to me. Cash App, $ICP Moss 88.
You know what? If the only upside to what you just said, Dom, is if there is a miraculous bolt of lightning and he somehow does win MVP, they stand to cash the hell
We'll
out.
never hear the end of it.
And yeah, you're right. And we will not
They run their mouths delusionally all the time. God forbid if they were actually right about something. I'm leaving all those NFC North Facebook groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
It ain't gonna happen, Captain.
Swing it down to you, Dom. Who you got? Sports Moron of the Week.
Well, I mean, it's a layup, but I can't remember the specifics. It was Stephen A. Smith because I heard it. I saw someone post about it the other day, and then I went looking for it, and I couldn't find it. I'm guessing Stephen A. tried to delete it from the internet, but it was either, I can't remember which. Both are equally offensive. I can't remember if it was Dak or Kirk Cousins, but he called one of those two middling quarterbacks the best quarterback in the NFC.
Excuse me?
I was even like, I was looking for my comment on Facebook because I couldn't find it because I remember saying specifically verbatim, it's Screaming A. Smith. I forgot more about football than Stephen A. ever knew. Remember when Stephen A. called Dwayne Haskins a mobile quarterback?
He did.
Wish he would have been more mobile just then.
Remember when this was years ago? When I don't know if y'all seen this one when Stephen A. did an episode of SportsCenter where it was like the Chargers lost a game. I they went for it on 4th down. They lost the game in overtime, and then Stephen A was like, well, the Chargers, they should have kicked a field goal on 3rd down, and if they missed, kick another field goal on 4th down.
Not
like, bro, you can't kick another field goal if you miss a field goal. That's it.
He knows nothing about football.
And you know what? Because so what was it last week? We talked about like
Randy says. Hold on, don't mean to cut you off, but Randy says it was Dak. Yeah, he said Dak.
Okay, there it is. I would take Kirk Cousins over Dak. Maybe. Well, they're the same guy. Dak is Kirk Cousins with a better brand. Regular season numbers.
Listen, bro, we all know Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC. We all know that. Like, we don't even need to have this conversation.
I mean, it's a pretty shallow talent pool, but he's considerably better than those.
He's way better than anyone else.
And for the last 10 weeks of last season, I'm taking Jared Goff over Dak and Kirk.
Hey, Goff did beat Dak in the playoffs as a Ram. So
I'm actually more impressed what I didn't think Jared Goff was gonna. I thought he was still gonna be trash with the Lions, but he did better than my expectations.
He was trash for part of a season.
That guy beat Dak last season. I want Stephen A. Smith to know that. I want Stephen A. Smith to know that guy beat Dak Prescott last season.
QB1.
I'm actually intrigued by Sam Howell. I want to see what he does. Like, of all, like, he can't be worse than Carson Wentz. He can't be worse than.
They've got a nice run game and a nice defense.
Washington has had, so I think he can be all right.
He had a decent game against a very good Cowboys defense. I mean, like, Sam Howell, he's talented. Yeah, he's talented. I will give him that much. He's talented, and anytime the Cowboys lose, it's always a good day.
What was it the Cowboys were calling their defense? They were calling them the Hot Boys.
Wait, what? I hadn't heard of this one. The Hot Boys.
The Cowboys fans they called the defense the Hot Boys. That's what they did. Like, you think I'm lying? Look it up. After the show, Google it. Type HOTBOY.
Lil Wayne, Turk, and BG are on their way with loaded guns to disprove that theory.
And speaking of the Hot Boys, there's a lot of people who would take a still incarcerated BG at quarterback than over Dak Prescott. Dom, I knew you was gonna like that one. I knew you was gonna like that. But yeah,
he used to own a bunch of crack houses up here in Detroit. I met him at the airport.
Was he pretty cool?
Super cool. He was looking dusty as hell, but
he's looking dusty as hell. He need to go to Silver the Barber ASAP.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, his hair, his fit, like his chain was like tarnished. Not BG in his finest hour.
How many years ago was this? Because it might have been right before he went to Finn.
He's been in prison.
Jay, what's your sports moron?
I actually was. Now we addressed it last week. I actually was gonna do the So on the pundits. Well, actually, you know what? Screw it. I'll just say it. My sports moron is Michael Orr, because it came out that it was all a lie. It was all a lie. That the family apparently got paid something like $600,000 a piece for all of that. And and anybody out there who's got access to the South Florida Tribune, please follow them on YouTube and Facebook. We did an episode of the Pundits last night, and this was our very topic. And basically, what he did was he kind of ruined it for the youth. So we talked about like Bob Shamrock, right, and him taking in Ken Shamrock and Frank Shamrock, trouble youths and turn them into champions. Adoptive father, awesome dude. And then you got this news about, Michael Orr, and he's lying and everything. You know what I mean? And so essentially what it's doing is going to put a stain. It's going to put a damper on those that want to take like a legit kid off the streets that's going through it and bring them into their home. And then it's like, you grow up, you go to the NFL, and you got this movie come out that's about your life. And then there was the idiots that were talking about, shout out Bacon Grizzler, the idiots that was talking about, Sandra Bullock needs to give her her Oscar back, dragging her in the middle of this after she's lost her husband, And so, but no,
nothing to do with it, bro.
She had nothing to do
like
with it.
Like she knew the backstory and just turned a blind eye to it, or a blind side, if you will.
Blind side to it, but no, all in all,
Bullock is an amazing actress.
But no, all in all, that was my sports moron, and I'm sure there's going to be more to follow in the days to come. But that's my immediate one right there. Well, I want to get on to our opening topic here, and that is the Colts have granted permission for running back Jonathan Taylor to seek trade. Potential landing spots for the star running back. So via article on Bleacher Report, there were a lot of fans that chimed in on social media, and there was teams thrown around, including the Bears, Eagles, Ravens, Patriots, Bengals, Bills, Seahawks, Browns, Chiefs, and Dolphins. Yes, Seahawks. Those were some of the names that were thrown around. Of course.
Did Kenneth Walker III pass away and I was unaware?
I said the same thing, but you know how, fans get to like knee-jerk reactions and such. But anywho, I want to pass it off to JT and JT, your thoughts on JT and where you think he may end up.
Honestly, I don't know where he's going to end up. I think that the Colts asking price is too high. I don't think that they want a first-round pick for Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in the league, but no one's going to give a first-round pick for a running back. The running back position is extremely devalued in the NFL, which is the whole reason that Jonathan Taylor wants a trade. He wants to be sent somewhere where someone's going to pay him. So, I heard we were talking about it on LinkedIn, like the idea of Jonathan Taylor going to Philadelphia. In theory, it sounds great because one of the best running backs in the league, one of the best O-lines in the league, one of the best offenses in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It just makes so much sense. But the Eagles are not going to trade draft capital and give this guy like a huge contract extension. I think the majority of the teams that were listed is not going to do it. They're just trying to kick the tires and see, like, if we offer you like a third and some stuff, like, will you take it? Stuff like that. But if I had to guess, I would say a team like Miami probably makes the most sense. They were in the talks with Dalvin Cook. Dalvin ended up going to the Jets. So I think they're a team that honestly wouldn't care about getting up draft capital and wouldn't care about paying him. So I think that if he gets traded, I think that's where he ends up.
Okay. Yeah, definitely interesting. I know the Eagles, and granted, on paper it does sound nice. Me personally,
in theory, it sounds good, but practically, the way this organization has been
somehow,
in history,
some way,
it doesn't make sense.
See the two healthiest seasons from Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift of their careers. Somehow, some way.
People were making jokes and saying like if they got Taylor, they would have like Taylor Swift as the running back duo.
Yeah,
that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, but no. In theory and on paper, it would sound good, but I don't think that the Eagles front office would go for it. Me personally, I don't think. I don't think they really need him. I think they got a team as is. They got a team as is. They were just in the Super Bowl. Practically the same team's coming back. I don't think they really need the guy. That's my honest opinion, though. But I'm sure. But I'm sure you'd take him if he came along.
I would take him. I mean, I would love it to have him, but we don't need him.
You need him though. I don't think you need him.
When your O-line's that good, you don't need to give up draft capital to get a running back like that.
No, you don't. I don't.
But he's great.
Not the Seahawks because, granted, yes, K9 is there.
And Zach Charbonnet.
Yep. Dolphins make sense. Kansas City, no, they already have a three-headed monster at running back with Isaiah Pacheco, McKinnon, and CEH. Ravens sounds good. I just wonder
if their running backs are healthy, they're fine too.
As a matter of fact, Jonathan Taylor.
If Joseph was here, hold on, I don't mean to cut you off, but if Joseph was here, he would be telling y'all, well, J.K. Dobbins does not get the respect, guys. So don't be talking about my guy J.K. like that.
So he's also the one that's a big Eddie George fan. Let's talk about Ohio State running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on from this topic. This is like the second time we've talked about this in probably less than a month.
Yeah, but the Colts actually gave him permission to have a trade.
I'll keep it short and sweet.
Go ahead,
Jonathan Taylor, you're dumb. Colts front office, you're dumb. Like Jonathan Taylor, he swears he's going to be the guy to break the mold. Like, I'm going to go somewhere and get paid. No, the F you're not. And the Colts are just going to try to overvalue him as if he's actually worth anything. He's worth nothing. And he did
Yeah,
not have a good year
Mercedes
last
on
year.
drugs.
Ronald Sombright, Colts fan from All Sports. So everyone was hyping up Jonathan Taylor, and he was like, which Jonathan Taylor are you talking about? The one from 2021?
Yeah. Pretty much, and he's coming off of an injury as well. I mean, and you know
Yeah,
what happens? You know what happens with running backs when they get injured? That value drops another.
I haven't put out my prediction for this year yet. I don't think there's a guy there. There's
Who's
no
gonna
elite
get
running
injured?
back that hasn't got hurt.
Yeah, pretty
When
much.
is Nick Chubb going to get injured, Dom?
He already got hurt like 2-3 years ago.
So he's off
Missed
the
like
list.
4 or 5 games. It's not a theory. It's not a hypothesis. It's a certainty. If you are an elite running back, you will get hurt. In a passing league, in a 2 running back system with way less carries, you will still get hurt.
Yeah,
Probably
absolutely.
Bijan Robinson this year, except I don't think he gets even 200 carries.
Bijan, I mean,
I
the Falcons
disagree with
gotta-
that. I think they're going to run Bijan into the absolute ground.
Between him and Algier and Corda Patterson, I think that
it was such a stupid
every
pick for
game is
Atlanta.
looking like that. Every single
Atlanta had the
game
best-
is looking like that Mac Jones game where he threw 5 passes.
Statistically, Atlanta had the best rushing offenses. So you have so many areas that you can improve the team, and you say, you know what? Yeah, let me get Bijan.
You got 1,900
It makes
rushing
no
yards from
sense.
your 2 backs, but let's draft another running back.
And
I
now
don't
that
know
you
if they were
did
really
it,
thinking,
and now that you did it and reached for Bijan, you have to justify it, and by justifying it, you have to give them like high volume in the offense.
You do. I mean, a lot of people were not understanding the move, especially on draft night. We all sat here and discussed it. You know, the only thing, and this is just me for right now, my mind may change next week if I see something different. The only thing that I can think as to why they drafted Bijan is because they don't quite trust Desmond Ridder yet.
Oh, it's 100%, dude. That was the
It's not that
hugest
deep.
vote
They
of
just
no
don't. They
confidence
just have no
for
idea.
a starting quarterback that I've ever seen.
Mhm.
You got 1,900 rushing yards from your 2 running backs, and then you go draft the best one in 5 years.
Yeah,
It makes no sense.
Maybe they're just going to go Wildcat.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, Desmond Ritter's going to average like 13 pass attempts a game, if that. You got a
If by
three-headed
13,
attack
you
back there.
mean 3.5.
Desmond Ridder is not going to be a long-term solution. The Falcons are going to be trash, and they're going to be in one of the top picks next year, and they're going to take a quarterback next year. That's what's going to happen.
Anyone could win that division. Anyone.
Not anyone.
Anyone.
Tampa.
Okay,
There's
all
not
right,
a
you're right.
chance in
Tampa
hell.
will not.
There's not a chance in hell.
You're right.
I will bet any amount of money that Tampa is
over on
the
Baker
last team
getting
in the division.
benched. Week 4, I'm taking the over.
So,
Oh, Baker.
Baker, interception maker.
I mean, on paper, I would say the best team was the Saints. One could, but you know what?
They
One
have the
could say
quarterback.
the division's the Saints to lose, but you're right. The division is so bad, anyone could win.
The Saints are also not that good.
The Saints have the best
The whole
quarterback,
division's trash.
the
whole
best
division's bad.
weapons, and the best defense.
I think Carolina could win it, and I guess New Orleans could win it.
9 wins that division for
But I
sure.
sure as hell don't think it's going to be Tampa.
8 won it last year, Dom. 8 wins won it last year.
8 in a tiebreaker.
8 and 9, Tampa Bay won the division. So yeah,
There's one good team in both South divisions, and that's Jacksonville.
That's it, pretty much. But
Yeah.
speaking of divisional previews, we're gonna go on to our next topic, and that is our NFC West preview. This probably isn't an obvious follow-up question, but maybe you feel different. Is the division of 49ers to lose? Do you see an improvement in any other team not named Arizona? Or do you see, not Arizona, the 49ers as a repeat? JT, what do you think, man?
To answer your question, Seattle has definitely improved. They definitely improved their team. They improved their defense. They went and drafted Witherspoon with their first pick. They're trying to rebuild, like having a great secondary, like when they had Sherman and Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. Gonna have to take steps to get there, but that's like the philosophy that they had behind the draft. And then they also get Nick Jigba from Ohio State to pair with. He also just had a wrist injury, so he's going to be out for
but he's going to be back probably by week 1.
Good player, and having him with DK Metcalf, it gives Geno more weapons. But with that being said, the 49ers they're class. They're the class of the division. They have so many talent on both sides of the ball. Kittle, maybe one of the best. Well, maybe him and Kelsey right there together, the two best tight ends in the league. Deebo Samuel, good player, even though he runs his mouth quite a bit about the Eagles, but we won't go there. The team's good. The team's very good. One of the best teams in NFC. I suspect that they will be back in the NFC Championship to have a rematch with the Eagles for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But Seattle, I think, has improved, and I don't think it will be so much easy for them winning the division. I think Seattle will make it difficult, but in the end, San Francisco is going to win the NFC West.
Okay. And so, well, it goes without saying, but you have the Rams at 3rd. I know they get Stafford back this year. They get a healthy Cup back this year and everything, but it looks like it's going to be a dogfight between Seattle and San Francisco. I wouldn't be shocked if at one point in time, if only for a week or two, Seattle had a 1-game lead in the division. But I want to swing it to Dom and get your thoughts on this. And is the division 49ers to lose, or do you see another team taking it?
Absolutely, it's the 49ers to lose. As good as Seattle is, to reference what you said, like, yes, Seattle could have a 1-game lead in the division, and that's if they've already played the Rams and Arizona once before, because the separation between San Francisco and Seattle and then the Rams and the Cardinals, like, you could see 2 10-plus win teams, and I think you will. San Francisco probably wins 12, 13, maybe 14 games. Seattle 10 at the least, versus like the Rams and Arizona. They'll be lucky to win probably 8 or 9 between them. And as much as I absolutely love
horrible,
terrible. As much as I absolutely loved the Eugene Cyril Smith III comeback parade last year, I don't know how he's going to follow it up. You're talking about a quarterback with a roughly 60% completion percentage career and a touchdown to interception ratio of around 1-1. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he comes out and throws 70%, 30 touchdowns. I think he had like 10 or 11 picks. I mean, it kind of lines up like the whole scenario, other than I didn't really like the Jackson Smith-Njigba pick. I mean, he was value there, but you already have 2 really good receivers. Like the glass half empty version of that is, why are you spending another first-round pick on a receiver when you already have 2 really good ones? But at the same time, what's he going to do to a nickel corner? But, Pete Carroll's teams are based on running the ball and defense. They all, they've already got K9. Charbonnet, as much as I absolutely despise Michigan running backs, like they'll eat some carries. He'll get the tough yards, probably some touchdowns. But yeah, like I said, the disparity between the top 2 teams and the bottom 2 is separated by at least 6 wins. If the Niners don't win the division, I would be shocked.
I think most people would.
Fair enough. JT, I think a while ago you said that you could see the Falcons as the number 1 pick. So question for you. Falcons or Cardinals?
Well, I don't know if you guys saw,
really
but
bad that we're not thinking
there was a report. Well, we have to actually address the Cardinals, and I'm glad that Grez put in the comments. He put that the Cardinals shouldn't even be in the conversation. They're the walk-in L of a franchise. I don't know if you guys saw the report that came today, but there was a report that said the Cardinals have secretly been telling people that they're pretty much going to shut Kyler down for the whole season, even if he recovers from his ACL tear. They're not going to, they're basically This is their way of basically saying, yeah, we're tanking. We're tanking.
It's a lost season.
Not that even if Kyler played, I still think that this team is so bad that it doesn't matter.
Right, for what?
Let's face it,
Like,
Kyler's
why bring him back in week 15?
He's not a great quarterback anyway. But
why bring him back in week 15?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. You're tanking, presumably, to draft someone like Caleb Williams. That's what we would assume. He's the consensus guy that's going to be the first pick. So
unless he's Carson Palmer,
what are you
I don't
going to do?
want him.
Like, you're going to draft Caleb Williams when you just paid Kyler and you have Kyler basically on a contract that's untradeable. It's untradeable because if the team trades him, they have to take on a cap hit that's absolutely unreal that they can't afford. It's going to gut the team and prevent the team from being able to do anything to improve the team. Also, other teams are not going to want to pay his salary because his production and skill does not match up to what the Cardinals put on him. So no team is going to say, hey, sure, we'll pay Kyler. We'll take his $50 million a year salary.
How old's Kyler now?
This is a clown organization. And to answer your question, yes, they're going to be trash. I would have to say that, yeah, I think they are worse than Atlanta, even though I think Atlanta is really bad.
This is just me. I've got Cardinals #1 overall pick last year. And, to your point that they're shutting Kyler down is like, oh, they're absolutely tanking. It's not like they were going to do anything this year because they traded their number 3 pick to us.
They might be better with
Kyler just turned 26 a couple weeks ago. And I said this like 3 years ago. I said, Kyler's going to end up playing baseball.
And see,
if he retires, that gets Arizona off the hook for some of that, right?
Maybe. You know what? I wonder if Kyler would say, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to make the move over.
More money, longer career.
It would be so funny. What would be so funny is just the instant karma to the Cardinals. Let's say they're like basically a lock for the #1 pick, basically the whole season. And then, like, at the end of the season, something happens and they end up winning a game. And then they end up getting like the 3rd pick or whatever. That would be great.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying the guy is any better, but somewhere Josh Rosen is smiling.
Josh Rosen?
Yeah. Yeah, Josh knows
Now Josh Dobbs is smiling because what if he actually comes in and he like wins a couple games?
I was going to say, is he the backup?
The Cardinals end up with like 4 wins or whatever, and they don't get the #1 pick.
Man,
that would be great.
You generous tonight. 4?
Ideally, I can't see them winning more than 2, but I just think it will be instant karma. Like the Cardinals are just like, yeah, you know what?
I mean, they do have 2 games against the Rams.
Well, I don't think the Rams are going to kill them. The Rams are not going to be. They're not going to be as bad as last year. They're still not going to be good.
Over under on Matt Stafford career more games is 4. I'm taking the under 5, and I'm taking the under.
You said more games, or you said
like
years.
He might retire before the season starts. Or he gets hurt and his wife's like, we're done, Matt. I survived cancer. We have 7 kids. You have $250 million in the Super Bowl ring. You're done, Matt.
Just let him sign a 1-day contract with the Lions so he can retire.
They tried to get him to take a pay cut. He was like, no.
I wouldn't either. I would be like,
yeah, to be fair, who's happy about taking pay cuts?
I'm living out LA and I'm getting these papers,
taking a pay cut so they can compete.
Yeah.
He's just trying to lower their cap number to a lesser amount of, negative money.
Rams, this is what happens when you try to play the
Rams are in the
like
7th
and you're like, oh, we're going to
cap hell.
Even though we have cap hell, we're going to trade for all these superstar players. They got 1 Super Bowl out of it, but like,
it worked.
This is unsustainable. Trading all your picks and doing this is unsustainable.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
After you win the Super Bowl, who cares? I wouldn't.
I mean, I
Could
think
the
they
Lions
care
please go
now
into
because
Bob Bell for 30 years.
they're going to be
1
dealing
year
with
after the
they're going to
Super
be dealing
Bowl?
with this for years. I think they do care. Sure, they accomplished one thing, but even if I
It's
win
worth
one
it.
Super Bowl and I'm trash for like the next decade
It's worth
because
it.
I have no money to do anything and I have no picks to rebuild the team, then no, I
It's
wouldn't
worth
be
it.
happy with that.
Then the
It's worth
crazy
it.
part about that Super Bowl win is, and we know how, no offense to anybody from LA or nothing like that, but a lot of y'all can be bandwagoners. They won the Super Bowl and like half the city didn't give a damn. They were like, all right.
LA is not a football town. They had two teams. One moved to Oakland, one moved to St. Louis.
And then they both proceeded to lose.
And,
The Rams
and
should
now
stay
they
in
got
St.
the
Louis,
transient Chargers. The Chargers
St.
didn't
Louis
have any
are
fans in
underrated.
San Diego.
St. Louis is an underrated sports town.
It is. And in my lifetime, I've seen them lose two teams. But I'm going to go on to our next topic here, and that is the recent news as of today that the 49ers have traded Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys for a 2024 fourth-round pick. So it's obvious that Trey was on borrowed time in San Francisco.
Jesus.
He kind of had a shot.
That was my sports moron.
Injured. Who? The Cowboys?
List goes, I just saw the list today of the dudes that went after Trey Lance.
Mhm.
It's just a list of Pro
Yeah,
Bowlers.
we got to talk about that. Do you have
Okay.
the list? The
Sewell,
full list?
Patrick Surtain, Micah Parsons. There's like
They wanted all of that for Trey Lance?
They want Waddle.
Oh, wow.
No, those are the players that was drafted
they
after Trey.
traded with Dallas.
Drafted after them. Oh, okay.
They traded with Dallas to get to 3, and then Dallas took Parsons at 12.
Oh.
Like from 4 to 12, all but maybe 2 of those guys have been Pro Bowlers. And one of them's J.C. Horn. He probably would be had he not been hurt.
True.
It was
There's a lot
literally
of great players
we would
taken
have taken
after him.
any one of the next 8 guys other than Trey Lance.
Yeah. And I mean, he was
A few
supposed to be.
things I want to say.
Moral of the story, don't take a quarterback from that D2 team. Carson Wentz went to the same school, right?
North Dakota State. Listen, there's a few things I want to say. There's a few things I want to say about this. Number one, I'm glad Don pointed that out because that was one of the things I was going to say. First of all, the 49ers are so lucky that they have this much talent on their team because this was a complete whiff by the San Francisco 49ers. Moves like this where you trade 3 first-round picks for a guy to be the future for your franchise, to be your franchise quarterback, and then it's a complete whiff. This is the type of move that gets GMs fired. But because the 49ers have so much talent, they have something to fall back on. So that's why John Lynch is safe and he's not being fired right now. That's the first thing I want to point out.
It's a double-edged sword. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say all the players that you pointed out. You not only miss on this, but all these great players that was drafted after Trey, and you don't walk away with anything and you completely strike out not only on the player, but the draft as a whole, you also strike out on. And then you have to give Miami credit for what they did too. Miami, with the 3 first-round picks, what they were able to flip it to, they used one of the picks to draft Jalen Waddle in that draft. They traded another to get Tyreek, and they traded another for Bradley Chubb. So you have all these great players that was drafted after Trey, and then Miami uses those picks and flips it into 3 great players.
They cleared it.
So the fact that he can't even take out Sam Darnold to be the backup quarterback of San Francisco, that's just sad. That's just sad. And I think Dallas is just like, you know what? We're just going to take a swing at this and see what happens. So it's intriguing. I think Dallas is an intriguing place for him because Dak, I think he's not yet on the hot seat, but he has to perform this year. This year, if he has another season like last year where he leads the league in interceptions, people are going to be saying, listen, it's time to get Dak out of Dallas.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's interesting.
Well, Shannon Sharp has said it a ton of times. At this point, you know who Dak Prescott is. You know who he is. He's not going to sit here and get back. I mean, he's not nowhere near a passer like Stafford. Stafford could do 10 plus years, go to LA and then win a Super Bowl, right? But Dak, no, this is just who he is, He might get you one playoff win, but that's it. And he's only won 2 in his career, right? Because he beat Seattle and then last year.
Yes, he beat a terrible Seattle team and he beat an even worse Tampa
Bay team. Yeah. And you know what? This comment right here, to your point, JT, that is what saved John Lynch right there. Brock Purdy should get Christmas cards.
I'm still not sold on Purdy. I think that
you don't have to.
Himself.
You don't have to be.
I think that
he got them to the championship game.
I'm sold just based on from the standpoint of I've seen more from Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Like, what is San Francisco doing trading up to take a quarterback in the first round? You can get a cardboard cutout of Jeff Garcia, and he's better than Trey Lance. When your O-line is that good and your defense is that good, what are you doing drafting a quarterback in the first round?
Go ahead, JT.
Their scheme is extremely quarterback friendly. And I think that, to your point, Dom, their roster is stacked. I think that's why, moves like this did not kill them. They're very fortunate that they have a stacked roster. If they didn't, John Lynch would be getting fired. 99% of GMs, when this situation happens to them, you trade 3 first rounders for a quarterback, and it's a complete whiff, a complete flop. You're done. That's it.
Usually, yeah. I mean, the Niners, if the Niners made the NFC, they just made the NFC Championship game last year. That right there, so if they had not made the playoffs and then this happened, oh yeah, it'd have been it. He'd been out.
How many NFC Championship games and Super Bowls have they made with quarterbacks that weren't good? Alex Smith, Kaepernick,
Alex Smith was all right.
Jimmy Garoppolo. What are you doing drafting a first-round quarterback? Trading up to draft a first-round quarterback. I heard something the other day about some quarterback in college, or maybe it was what's his name in the rocking chair from Georgia, Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett has
35
2 or 3 times as many snaps played in college than Trey Lance did in high school and college combined.
Stetson Bennett,
who's
now a Ram, ironically.
Brandon Weeden,
same division.
And then Brandon Weeden as the oldest rookie of all time.
Was he older than Winky?
No, Weeden was like 29.
Yeah, he was like 28 or 29 when he got drafted. How old was Chris Winky when he got drafted?
I think he was actually only like 20.
He's probably up there.
27. Oh, look right now.
Yeah, and Winky won a Heisman. That was so crazy. But yeah, I mean, if something happens and that goes down, I mean, and Grizz actually put it up here. He said Lance ain't going above Rush. I don't think anyone disagrees with you.
Whoa, Chris Winky entered the league at 29.
Oh,
so
he sure
then
did.
Why the hell would you? Then Dallas, why the hell do you give a fourth round pick? Like that's a considerable pick to give up to somebody that's going to be a third stringer. You know what I mean?
It's that big vote of no confidence in Dak. But earlier in the week, they're like, oh, Dak's going to get a $60 million a year extension. I'm like, what? You gave this dude the worst quarterback contract in history, and now you want to double. Jerry loves the big deal.
With that being said, and where was the comment?
I hope it does.
Shout out Bacon Grizz. We love him too. We love him too, because as long as he there, they ain't gonna win nothing. They ain't gonna win nothing. So
that's my guy Jerry.
Yeah, he's our favorite too, Bacon. But moving on from this topic to our next one, and that is the news that former wide receiver Antonio Brown is facing arrest for non-payment of child support. And the big question is that has he finally hit rock bottom? So via article, let's see here, it says police in Florida ordered to arrest Brown. He failed to make a child support payment to his former partner. Let's see. According to the report, the four-time All-Pro can have the arrest order wiped out if he pays up and adds $5,000 for attorney fees. He missed a $15,000 payment to the mother of his child. The first arrest order was issued in April when Brown missed a $30,000 payment to Jackson. What the hell are you doing, Antonio?
Damn.
But basically, yeah, the man's in heavy arrears, y'all. Heavy arrears. And this isn't no court show where, there's a DNA test and they figuring out child support. It's not Judge Von to be or nothing like that, okay? The man is in really real world arrears, okay? He's got very little money coming in as is. I mean, with Antonio
he's
Brown.
broke.
Yeah,
he's completely broke.
I just saw something. I don't know if it was in Detroit or not, but it was a Facebook sponsored ad, some rap show, and it was like special guest Antonio Brown.
I saw a thread one time because R. Kelly's royalties are actually getting paid to his victims, and so literally, like the men on this panel and anybody on any Facebook thread has more money than R. Kelly. Pretty soon, we're going to be saying the same thing about Antonio Brown. We're going to have more money than him because we might
already have more than him because there was actually a story a while back. Antonio Brown apparently owns one of the arena football teams, and he kicked a bunch of players out of the hotel, and he also couldn't afford to. I think he kicked them out because he couldn't afford the hotel room. That's what it was, and like he also couldn't afford to pay them for however many games it was.
Oh yeah, he's not just in arrears.
So, he's definitely having money problems. He's definitely having money problems.
Go ahead, Dom.
Oh, I said he's not just in arrears on child support. He's in arrears on game checks.
Yeah.
And hotel room bills.
That's nuts. Yeah, he owned it was a team in Albany, an indoor football team. And then he fell out with them and like he left the league or got kicked out or something. Yeah, it's just it was all like they booted him out and he was the owner of a team, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, this right here, it goes without saying, if you're responsible for a kid, you don't pay your stuff, man, okay? You know how child support is in the United States. And if you put on those papers and you get behind, they can and will lock you up if the mother of that child pulls the trigger, okay? So you're responsible for that kid, you got to pay the child support. But, $30,000 is crazy. Like a month, like that's
45 grand because of the 15 and the 30.
Yeah, because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I wonder how much. The thing is, depending on how old the kid was or is, like that amount got set at whatever date, a few years ago. Clearly, he's not making that amount of money now.
No.
But is he going to be,
there's no way
smart enough or responsible enough to try to go to court to get it lowered? Like, hey, I have no income.
He don't got a leg to stand on because he about to get arrested for this. It'd be one thing if like you was a paying father, right? And you wasn't behind or nothing like that. You raising your kids, you doing good. And then maybe you're not feeling hard times, but maybe, he had to take another job or something low paying. You go and you say like, hey, is there any way we can lower child support? Because, A, B, and C happened. But as you can see, up to this point, I've been paying on time. Boom, 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 boom. They might be able to work something out with you.
Yeah, they would do that for you.
But when you're behind like this, he has no leg to stand on. He has no leg to stand on. It's like, bro, you need bail money. Why are you talking to me about child support lowering? You need bail money. Like this, that's crazy, man. And like athletes and child support, bro. Like one time, T.O. was shoving out $44K a month. $44K a month, man. Like that was nuts.
Travis Henry bastard children his way out of the league.
He had like 10 kids.
In jail multiple times for child support because he's got like 19 kids.
Man, Cromartie better not ever leave.
Cromartie ain't got shit on Travis Henry.
He better not ever leave.
I remember Antonio Cromartie the first time I saw that movie. It was called Travis Henry.
Yeah, pretty much. See, not everybody's like Future, y'all. Future got like 10 by 10 different, but he's also worth like 60 mil, but he's not doing like dumb stuff like what Antonio Brown is doing and everything. So like, and he also's
takes
got
care of
like,
it.
yeah, he does. And then on top of that, but he's in a business where his money regenerates. He gets royalties. He goes on tour and all that kind of stuff. Antonio Brown tried to start a rap career and then that flopped. And that just kind of gives you an idea, like, Future might got 10 kids, but at least he takes care of them and he's not behind on nothing. Like, he can afford his kids. I don't know how many Antonio Brown got, but yeah, it's crazy. But well, we're in the last about 5 or 10 minutes of the telecast. We're going to go on to our last topic, and that is our non-sports topic.
Yes,
and that
we got
is
10 minutes for it. Or
if you
6.
could go
This is a good
back
one.
in a time machine and visit your 16-year-old self, what advice would it be? JT, what you got, man?
There's probably a lot of things I wouldn't give myself advice about, but if I had to pick something, I would just say in life, things are temporary. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to handle your own business. You need to do what's the best for you. Stop trying to put other people before you. Stop trying to like put yourself in a compromising situation because you value this relationship with somebody, even if it's your girlfriend or your friends or whoever. Like, friends are temporary. A lot of the people that was my quote unquote friends like back in the day, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, however long, I don't talk to them. Like, I can probably count in one hand that the people that are my real friends, the people that I like talk to consistently, the people that is riding with me, not only on the days when I'm having success, but even like on my worst days, like people still there. There's a lot of people in my life that for years and years and years, said they was there and then they just disappeared. And then when I go to social media and I say, hey, by the way, guys, I'm going to Arizona. I'm covering my first Super Bowl. The thing that pissed me off about that, I was so pissed off. I'm going to share this story because it's a real story. I was so excited for that, but in that moment, I was so pissed off. I didn't even really want to tell anyone, but I had to because I knew that if I just went there and I was doing all this stuff, it would become a huge distraction because my phone would be literally blowing up from people saying, oh, James, I can't believe you're in the Super Bowl. But the amount of fake people and fake comments and messages that I got, just like it set me on fire. Like, I was just so mad about that. So I would just have to say, don't get caught up in the hype. People are temporary. Friends are temporary. Do what's best for you. Do your thing. Make yourself happy. And don't trip about none of this other stuff, man. That's it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I agree. And I remember we all were in conversations about it and everything. It's like, man, listen, like, you made it, just go out there, cover, the Super Bowl and make the best of it, because it's something about whenever you come up, you could get a new job that's high paying. You can get drafted into the NFL. You could win the lottery. You know what I mean? Hell, you can, get married or remarry, and here come your exes, right? That there's always gonna be those snakes. As OGs will tell you, keep your grass cut low, because you can see the snakes coming.
Real talk. I'm not gonna say name. I'm not gonna say the name, but one of my teachers from high school told me in my senior year that I was gonna grow up and become a drug dealer. The same teacher, I'm not gonna say her name, went to Facebook in the comments and put, "Oh, you're a great young man. Like, I knew you could do it." The same lady. So that's the type of stuff I'm talking about right here.
Maybe it was reverse psychology.
Definitely wasn't reverse psychology.
I guess we'll go with that.
Dom, what you got, man?
One would be figure out a way to either escape or cut off the leash, like the very short leash that I was on all through high school. Like I was not afforded the opportunity or, the length of the leash to do any screwing up. So when I started college and I didn't even move away. Like I was commuting downtown to Wayne State. So I'm driving down there going to class, and it's like I didn't skip school in high school, except like I didn't have a car for the longest. And, you skip school in Livonia, and if your parents actually give a shit, like they're calling your house by the end of the day and leaving I want to say voicemail, what's it called? A message on the answering machine. And it's like automated. It's like, your son or daughter was absent, unexcused from one or more classes. And that would piss my mom off to no end. So it's like, when I started college, I was like, what do you mean I don't got to go to class? And the other one would be, and it's the same type of thing, like, wish I could have just forced my way into going to Votech to learn the trade. So I could have learned how to weld when I was 17 for free instead of paying for it when I was 33. I'd probably be making double what I am now. Probably be running my own business, teaching on the side for really good, zero stress money. But yeah, like basically it's like figure out to make a long story short, figure out a way to do everything you can to try to grow up, if given the opportunity when you're 16 or, have the chance to get all the screwing up out of your system by the time you're done with high school instead of college. Because when you're paying to go to school, that's not the time to start effing up.
Right. With college, I mean, it's a huge responsibility. Like it's personal responsibility, because you don't have your mom or dad or your guardian breathing down your neck and waking you up in the morning to go to school. It's your responsibility to get to the classes. It's your responsibility to get into assignments. It's your responsibility to engage in the class and to take those exams and to study. Like we've, been in college, we know. What I would tell my 16-year-old self is I would tell him so I was like a tad timid back then, and I would tell him to have more confidence.
You?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Don't believe it.
I was don't get me wrong, I was still like a goofball and all, but like with like talking to like females and everything. Like, but I would just say just have a little bit more confidence, but not just in talking to the opposite sex, but in just everything you do. I definitely would tell them don't be so impulsive. You know what I mean? Don't sit here and make a permanent outcome, a permanent decision based off of a temporary feeling. You know what I mean? Also, I would tell them to don't worry so damn much. You know what I mean? If you have support, rely on it. If you got to grind by yourself, grind by yourself. But don't worry so much because you have faith, and you use that and you use whatever motivation to get you through. I also would tell them like, hey, coming up in right around the year 2004, you're going to be looking at the military. Why don't you start looking at it in 2001? I would have joined 3 years, earlier had I known it would have been such a, a great deal, and then also definitely, and don't get me wrong, like I went to college and everything and graduated, but I also would tell them like, go just a little bit sooner. Just go a tad bit sooner. I got out in 2016. I went in 2017, but I would have told them to knock out more classes back then, do a little bit more because you can actually knock out classes while you're in high school. It's like that everywhere you go. So it's like if you can take a college course, and then that would be better prepared for you
took some
for
AP
the future.
Tests that got me out of a couple of college classes. But you know what the best or worst part about this whole topic is? 16-year-old Jay, 16-year-old James, 16-year-old Dom would not listen to the grown version of us. When I was 16, 18, 19, 25, 27, 29, you couldn't tell me shit.
Yeah.
I went to jail when I was 30.
And it's right at like 15, 16, 17. It's like, of course I listen to my mom. She yell loud enough. You know what I mean? Listen to my folks.
when I turned
Go ahead, James.
23, I was gonna say when I was about 23, that's when I started realizing, like, yo, like this shit ain't cutting it. Like, we got to start getting things together. And then I started making like more changes to my life, and that's why I think I did that. And before that, though, when I was like 21, when I was 21, 22, I definitely was wasting so much time. So
Wildin'.
I know that feeling of like feeling like, you know, nobody can tell you shit. So
yeah,
I know
better
that
at 21, 22 than 28, 29, 30 like me.
It's said in general that like us as men, we spend our 20s trying to figure it out, right? You know? And another thing I guess I would say, and I think, you know, both you gentlemen would agree, is, you know, we would tell our 16-year-old selves to do your best to figure it out as soon as you can. You know? If you have to take all 10 years, then fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But if you could get it done at 26 or 27, by all means, you know? But yeah, in general, and that's one of the hardest parts about us men, you know, is we spend our 20s like trying to figure it out while also attacking this, while also attacking that, while also having this and this and this. And you got, you know, cats that have kids, they got kids in their 20s. You know what I mean? So they're trying to figure it out and take care of seeds. You know what I mean?
Thank God I didn't have kids then, but I was always juggling school, work, and a relationship, and that's almost impossible to do.
NBA YoungBoy has 11, and he's 23.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah. On that note, we're going to go ahead and close the curtains on the show. Thanks to everybody who were tuning in. Shout out to Bacon Grizzler, as always, in the comments, man. Appreciate your comments and your participation. And with that being said, James, any updates? Anything new going
on? Not really. Just chilling. Gonna be back doing. I haven't been doing the show with you guys.
Or has been banned from every CVS and Walgreens in the greater Philadelphia area.
I'm keeping it. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna keep it going.
But
I was gonna say, hopefully Joseph can actually be on the show, because I literally called him before the show and was like, "Yo, bro, what you doing?" He's at the bar getting blasted, and I was like, "All right, bro, make sure you get an Uber. I don't want your silly ass driving around." So hopefully we have some good shows this week. Really excited for the NFL season to come back.
Absolutely. Oh, by the way, JT, are you and JJ going to do your picks every Sunday before game time again this season?
We're talking about what day we're going to do it, because JJ was actually saying that games, the weeks when there's like games in Europe where you have to get up early, we should do those. We should do those weeks on like a Saturday night instead of like a Sunday morning. But the other picks, the other weeks, I think we are going to like keep doing Sunday morning.
Okay. So in theory, y'all will be on next Sunday morning then. Because next Sunday is week 1.
Next week is week 1?
Next week is week 1. Yeah.
Oh, it's already here.
Week after.
Wait, say that again, Dom?
Week after.
That seems a little early.
No, first game is Thursday. The Detroit Lions and the defending Super Bowl champs. That's on the 7th. The first Sunday games are the 10th.
It is the week after. Yep, it is the week after. Okay, then. That's cool. No, y'all still got time to talk about it and everything. It is the week after. Dom, anything new your way?
No.
Grizz says thank you for the service, by the way.
So I appreciate it.
Got a new job, paying more money, a bunch of OT, 7-minute commute. Loving it.
Hey, not bad at all. Right. On that note, I'm going to crack open the tequila, y'all. So for the returning JT and Dom Power Outage DeRubeis, I am Denzel Snipes. Tariq, take us out of here. We will see you in 7. This is the Gauntlet